Yeah. So at first, when you guys came in, I told you guys that if you wanted to write down any questions, bueno, tengo una pregunta que quieras escribirla aquí.
Quiero preguntarle la primera palabra a esa, no estoy seguro si es a Lucas.
A la Catherine. A la Catherine. Mukia. A la Catherine Mukia. So, first, when you guys came in, I asked you guys if you had any questions, you guys can write it down because I wanted everybody here that had any type of question to write it down so it could be answered. Obviously from my perspective or our perspective of the Taino culture, right? So the first part is Bohique. From Juricoaborí. He asked, what is a Bohique and what is the process of becoming a Bohique, right? So, anybody here knows what is a Bohique? Can anybody answer? I would like that question to be answered by the people that have come to the workshops and have been around the community to answer a little bit. No? Nobody?
Like they use natural stuff, like herbs and plants and.
Yeah, she got a good answer. She said a natural doctor. Dile, que yo sé que te levantaste el dedito.
You want me to answer?
Yeah, dale.
Okay. A Bohique, also known as a witch doctor in many countries, a Bohique basically is a medicine man who works with plants to try to cure or just tend to certain illnesses. That's what it is. A lot of cultures, they know them as medicine men, shaman, witch doctor. In our culture, we call it Bohique.
So, he made the question and he answered it. So like he said, what he said. So, a Bohique is a kind of, let's say like a doctor, right? But he also worked spiritually on the people. So everything through the plants, like giving baths, giving people to drink like teas and different type of stuff. Also throughout the singing, it had a whole process of singing, doing blowing the tobacco and everything. So a Bohique, usually how the one became back in the time of our ancestors, a person became Bohique. I'm gonna say Bohique. Bohique is also you can say it that way. A Bohique will be initiated since he was a little boy. When he was a little boy, he would the kids will go through certain tests to know if he was capable of becoming a Bohique. Now, if the child demonstrated that he was capable of, then he will be a student of an old woman, that she would start teaching him how the plants work, throughout the secrets of the plants. Like this plant is good for this plant is good for that. We can see that in our grannies when we were when we visited our elders, our abuelas. We would go to their houses and maybe they will tell you, oh, you can't grandma, my throat hurts. Also drink nene, bebete un poquito de guarapo de jengibre, que son buenos para la garganta, so they will recommend for us to drink a little bit of tea, of ginger tea, to try to to calm down the throat itch, or if you have catarro, which is no sé si hay gripe, el catarro.
When you have a cold.
Yeah, cuando tiene frío.
Cold or cough.
So you could drink. They would give you that. So the ladies, the old ladies, will teach the children on and have them be como presente, como be present when they were trying, healing somebody and treating patients. So he will grow up having that knowledge. Then he will pass to a person, an elder, a man that will be the boiga of the community. And he will go because the women, mostly all the women, knew how to work with plants because they were the ones that most of the time took care of the sick. So then the boique, which was more, he was more of a person that was isolated in a certain place. He will go with that bohica, and the bohica will start teaching him now the spiritual part of working with the plants, Ajá.
Is it behique or bohique?
Se puede decir de las dos maneras. You can say it like bohique, vejique, I know it more as bohique, but other people say vejique. So, ¿quieres aportar algo? ¿Me cuestión de las plantas o algo así de enseñanza? Ajá.
What's the difference between a bohique and a bohiti? Explain.
So,
It's actually buhiti. Buhiti. B-U-H-I-T-I. Buhiti. Yeah. He's gonna explain the difference between a bohique and the buhiti.
Just keep in mind that the spelling of the words of our ancestors was always written according to how the Spaniards would hear it. So a lot of times you'll see one name be spelled in like 4 or 5 different ways. So it's just really a matter of which one you feel more, closer with or whatever. But at the end of the day, when you're talking to someone who knows about it, they'll know what you're talking about.
So why is this the confusion with vejique or bohique is it all comes from the guy that wrote about it, or the Spanish, because there were various Spaniards that interviewed natives, and they all wrote it from how they understand it. Now the part from bohiti and bohiti comes from our accent, the native accent, the accent of our ancestors, because they used to pronounce the O like O. Like, so if you say bohiti, it's gonna sound like a U, bohiti. So he's saying boo. So totally. ¿Cómo? Puede ser, but I don't like to call it witch doctor because,
Medicine man.
yeah, exactly. Because witch is more like a little despective.
Medicine man.
Yeah. So,
I'm just trying to write it down properly. Thank you.
Explain.
no, yo aprovecho, no. So, what's the difference between bohique or vejique and a bohiti? So, the difference comes at so the difference is that a bohiti was the one that worked more on the spiritual side, like strictly spiritual. So bohique or vejique was more like a doctor, like he would come and give you the plants, to that you would use for the cleansing or anything you need, and the bohiti will now work from a more psychological and spiritual aspect. Now, some people have said that the word bohi means to know, knowledge, and it's curious because by the Bartolomé de las Casas, one of the friars, ¿verdad? That went to the islands, he wrote that the elders that knew, they used to call them boicio, which means someone that knows. Boi. So boi, ti, from ti and que, these two words, ti and que, según Cayetano Colitoste, which was a historian, a Puerto Rican historian, that he himself took the time to try to decipher or kind of find the meaning for the Taino language of the words and break them down. He came to the conclusion that ti means high, like high, and que means the earth, the land. And so bohi ti. Can someone answer that from what I've said? Bohi ti.
So when he says ti, meaning the highest he means in distance. The highest. And I like hello. It's not hello, sino la más altura. The highest. That's what he means. And then que in Taino means land. That's what it means. So that's how you know the difference between the ti, the highest, which is something that's spiritual, and que, which is something that has to do with the earth or the grounds. And that shows you that anything that has to do with grounds has to do with plants. So that's how you would know the difference between a bohique or behique, which is the same thing. So when you see at the end that says que, now you know it has to do something with plants. And then when it says bohiti or buhiti, then that has to do with the highest. So the highest in that sense, spiritually means spiritually. That's what it means, basically.
A good example of that is yunque.
Huh?
Yunque.
Yunque, yeah.
Like earth.
Yeah.
Yunque.
Yeah. So boy, ¿verdad? Like I said before, means to know. Right? Ti means high. And que, means land. So if we decide, if we try to break down the words, what would it mean? Se lo estoy poniendo.
He just said it. Why
Okay.
He just said it.
Sí, pero de la gente. Ajá.
Bohití sería conocimiento de lo alto, conocimiento alto.
Mhm.
Y bohiqué, pues, conocimiento de lo que es la tierra. O lo que está en la tierra.
Exactly. So that's the difference between bohica or behica and bohiti. Anyone else wants to
Me imagino que trabajaban juntos, ¿verdad? Los dos.
Sí, yo pienso que from my understanding, I believe that bohique or bohiti, they could be the same person. One person can be both, bohique and bohiti, because you have to know. Let's say it like this: you have to know your mother to you have to know your mother to get to know your father. So throughout the journey of learning of the plants, of learning of the land, and how the plants and how the nature works spiritually and psychologically in the person, guides you to understand more of the highest, what you can't see. So throughout this learning about the earth, the land, and everything else, that's how you get to learn more of the spirit. Because what affects our body affects our spirit, and what affects our spirit affects our body. That's why a lot of the ancestrally, in a lot of cases, our ancestors used to say that sometimes you will have a sickness, and they will say your spirit is sick. they wouldn't say it's your, like it's your body or anything. So they will. That's why they will give you certain ¿cómo se dice? Como purificaciones, like, or cleansings, to your body, so that way you can cleanse your spirit. So if you want to learn how to heal the spirit, you gotta learn how to heal the body. It all works, una dualidad.
Hand in hand.
Exacto. Ham and ham. Go. Anybody else have a question?
Can you clarify again what the boiti?
What?
The boiti, what was that again?
No lo escucho.
El boiti, can you give the definition for it again?
So Boiti, from our research, is a person that knows about the high, about the highest, the sacred, and Boy to know about the land. A person that knows about the land, the spirits, and everything else, everything that has to do with the material plane.
So basically, bohi comes from the word boisia, like you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and boisia, it's a person who's wise. Por eso que hay gente que son abuelas, y entonces también están las abuelas boicias. So that means that it's a higher grade in title. Una abuela boicia is a higher grade in title than just a regular abuela. Porque ya las abuelas boicias saben mucho de las plantas espiritualmente y cosas así, compared to just a regular abuela. Yes.
And also another.
Can you write Boicia?
Vaya, quiere saber cómo se escribe boicia.
Thank you.
¿Lo puedes ver? ¿Lo ves?
Can you see it?
Yeah, so that's Oboicio.
It's
The same. It's the same.
a knowledge of God.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now this word is more is already ya era españolizado, so so Boicio and Boicia didn't actually exist, but this part ¿cómo se dice particular? Particle?
Particular.
No, particular, como like piece.
Particular
Is
is
it
particular.
Oh,
This fragment, yeah.
this
That's that.
fragment, yeah.
This fragment, boy, is of native origin.
Okay.
Boisi. That comes from I looked it up on the Logono language from mainland Arawak, and Boisi, ¿verdad? Eliminando a, Boisi could come from I see. That means knowledge or to know. No. I get it, but to cope. To know and oh my God, Logono, which is mainland Arawak. Okay. ¿Verdad? You guys have it? You got it?
No.
And where does the mainland Arawak come from?
Mainland Arawak, there's no mainland Arawak, but people have given that title to the Logono language.
But do you know what country it is though?
Guyana.
Guyana? Okay.
Guyana and a little bit of Venezuela.
Okay. So
So
it's that region.
yeah, so there's no mainland Arawak because there's a lot of Arawak languages in South America. So we can't give that, and ones are older than others.
Spell the Arawak word.
¿Cómo?
Spell the Arawak word.
So you're saying that Arawak is rooted in Locono, which is from Guyana?
Yeah.
Oh.
That was their native language.
English
Before-
Guyana.
Yeah.
English Guyana.
Yeah.
Because there's three countries right there.
Because you got Guyana,
Suriname, and French Guyana.
Yeah.
So yeah. So there's some languages in South America, some Arawak originated languages that are older than the mainland Arawak, than the Locono. But yeah, but our Arawak, the Taino Arawak, has a lot in common with the Locono, or some words that we use. All right, you guys got it, ¿verdad? All right, perfect. Ching, 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 ching. Anybody else has some questions? A question
There's questions on the
with
board.
this?
But we got more questions.
Yes, sí, pero en cuanto to this first one.
La señora, la esposa de Juan, ella preguntó, Boicia, que tiene, ¿verdad?, conocimiento, o es sabia de qué.
Bueno, Boicia, lo que pasa es que lo voy a decir en inglés para que.
Sí, sí.
But for our ancestors, there wasn't a name for a woman that was boike or a boike. That name wasn't given to women specifically because it was it was general. They all knew about it. It was a thing that they all knew or they were supposed to know. And now on the men's side, not all the men knew about the plants like the women. So when a guy dedicated himself to learn about the plants or was selected to learn, then they will give him that title to distinguish him from the others. Now on the woman's side, most of all the women knew what the guy knew. So that's why there was kind of a title. But today, us, we use the term boicia to give it to an abuela, specifically an abuela, an elder woman that knows, that has knowledge or is kind of like a leader inside the community. Así que eso es, por eso se dice eso. ¿Se lo puede aplicar a boicia? Ajá.
So the Boicia is an older person that has knowledge of plants?
Yeah.
Just plants?
Well,
Of the herbs and
It's just
stuff like that?
knowledge in general.
Knowledge in
Yeah.
general.
What happens is that the word boisi, that part right there, it means to know. So the only reason why there's an A or O now, if you read into the books, is because the Spaniards came and added the A or the O pertaining to a woman or a man. You understand?
So it's just of knowledge of anything?
It's just
Well,
knowledge, yes.
What's predominantly?
Predominantly when
plants.
it comes to medicine in general.
Medicine, okay.
Yeah, like plants, spiritual, just in the general term of healing someone. Yeah.
que levantaste la mano.
The question was answered.
Sorry.
Anything else pertaining to this first question? Boicia? No? Okay. Lo voy a dejar por si acaso. So let's go to this one. Alex pregunta, ¿el bejique se conecta con el espíritu para trabajar con las plantas? ¿Sí o no? ¿Por qué? ¿Puedes traducirlo?
Alice is asking, the Vejique he connected with the spirit to work with the plants, yes or no, and why?
Okay, so for our ancestors, like I kind of answered that with the last question. So yeah, the person had to connect when a person takes on the path of learning about the plants and learning about the spirit and dedicating his life to heal people. He would kind of sacrifice himself for that because he wouldn't live a normal life like the other people of the community. Because, for example, a child that was gonna start being trained on that, he couldn't eat fish or birds or any kind of meat. He will eat just casabe or the viandas, only that. He will be a vegan. So so the thing is that why? Because that's on the process of learning from from that, and that person will also have to get used to fasting. So hacer la ayuna. That person will do more fasting than the people from the community, and also in our part, the Jehovah ceremony. The Jehovah ceremony was practiced by those people, and also the cacique, which in most of the time the cacique will be a spiritual leader also. But doing the Jehovah ceremony, something that people must understand is that when you do the Jehovah ceremony, from personal experience, it hurts. It hurts a lot. It's not something. It's not like that. Something that you just start tripping and have fun. No, it doesn't work like that. It's a tough thing, and it has. They don't know what it has. Fasting and a diet that you have to take. It's a whole thing. So and also something that we have to understand from our biological being is that when you fast and when you do ¿cómo se dice?
Oh, when you become
Abstinence.
abstinence.
When you do abstinence and you do fast, you're kind of killing your body. Why? Because on nature, when something is when you start getting old, then you start losing a lot of that biological, I don't know, abilities maybe, or the ability to reproduce and start doing things. So when your body, we have to understand that when we do fasting or we do abstinence, we're going against our biological cycle, exactly. And so why we do that? We do that because and I'm gonna say this because it's important for people to know. The reason why we do that is because a living being can't go to the world of the spirits. You can't be alive to go to the world of the spirits. You have to be a spirit to go to the world of the spirits. So you're on that line, on that border between living and dying, to go to the spirit world to get the answer or get the remedy to come back and heal your people. So you're not on a comfortable zone. It's a lot of sacrifice and stuff that you have to do, and not everybody is capable of doing that. That's why today we got a lot of bohiques and bohitis that give me if you need a reading or you need a healing, $20, and I solve your problem. But it doesn't work like that for our people. Also, we don't sell spirituality. That's another thing. But that's not like today.
He remains a vegan?
No. He then starts his diet that's when he starts. When he starts, then he can start like eating more like fish and other meats, but not in an excess. They do it on a moderate way.
It's like when you're doing there's a word I just lost it. It's when you're doing
Detox?
no, not detox. It's another word. Tú estás haciendo, oh my God. You're doing a certain diet. It's like what Muslim people do.
Keto.
No, it's not keto.
Stupid
No.
fasting?
Fasting. It's a way of fasting that what our people do. That you cannot eat dairy, you cannot eat meats, you cannot eat fish, you can only eat stuff like casabe, vegetables,
Anything from the earth.
anything from the earth, habichuelas, but you only stay with that when you're doing that fasting.
Menos Goya.
Yeah.
Menos Goya, acuérdate.
And remember that you always have to also remain in abstinence. No sex, no self pleasures as well. Your body has to be pure before you do that process of when you're doing either what's the name of that again? The ceremony, the Jehovah ceremony. Yeah. So your body has to feel like he said. It's like you're in the center of dying for you to get to the spirit world. That's how it feels like. That's why he says that it hurts. It's because of the process that you're going through. People like me, I don't think I'll probably be able to do that ever because I'm diabetic. So diabetics, you can only do but so much. But if you push your body too much and you try to do it, and you don't, I'll probably reach the spirit world and probably stay there. You know what I'm saying? I'll probably never be able to come back from it. But that's the sacrifice that you have to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Espérate, ella, ajá.
Ella, Beatriz.
Vale. Vea.
For the Kohoma ceremony, I got fasting, any animal products, abstaining, vegan, earth-made vegetables. Is there anything else that's part of the ceremony?
Yeah, the abstinence.
That's there, I have it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it, really.
Yeah, that's it.
Those three things.
Well,
And no dairy. No dairy either.
It was only
I
made.
said any animal product.
Yeah.
It could be meat, it could be dairy.
Yeah.
Anything
Yeah.
that comes out of an animal.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it
yes.
was only it was made by the Bohitis only.
And that's for only the spiritual people.
Yeah,
That's only for the spiritual people.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Because it wouldn't actually work. You know, it's not a drug like that. So I don't recommend anybody to do it. So
So the Boiti go through the ceremony,
¿Qué?
or not the Behique?
the
Or do they both go through it?
bueno, Bohiti, pero como like I said before, it was kind of the same. One person could be both, you know, because
Okay.
one transcends to the other.
Okay.
So yeah,
And men or women can do the ceremony?
men. It's a male ceremony.
And what is-
The reason why is because the spirit. Some say that ceremony is done by both in South America. I personally never seen it. You know, ayahuasca, for example, can be done by both. You know, and ayahuasca actually has its female como es directrices que guided.
It's guided by women, basically.
Yeah, by women and men both. You know, on the Cohoba, which is the same as Yoko, some say that they did, but I've never seen it. You know, so I have to look more into that. Also, we must understand that a lot of the rules have evolved throughout time. So now today we got people that are doing the ceremonies and they're inviting both, you know, like male and female. But also there's a lot of modern influence on the ceremonies that we've done. Now, one of the reasons why the women are not. I don't recommend it. If a woman wants to do it, she can do it. You know. But why it's not recommended is because it messes with the reproductive cycle of the women. Sí, con eso, ¿verdad?
If a woman wants to try to have kids after she does the ceremony, it's most likely that she'll become sterile forever. Yeah, that's what I've heard as well.
Yeah.
That if you want to have kids, it's not recommended for you to do the Cohoba ceremony ever. Yeah, because it does mess with not just the cycle, but it's the reproductive part of the woman. It messes it up. Yeah.
And also it could produce bleeding, excessive bleeding when a woman is on her menstrual cycle. So yeah.
Well, just to elaborate, in general, when you're doing a ceremony, you have to be careful if we are menstruating at the time, if we're pregnant, and so on and so forth, because any medicine which is that strong, like ayahuasca, for example, you can't be menstruating either. So it's something that you have to, before doing any kind of ceremony like that, it's just suggested to do research, just to make sure that you're safe, you know, in general.
Are you gonna discuss what the ceremony is like?
I personally don't know. I've only me personally, I've only been there to observe and to help a helper to make sure that people that were doing the ceremonies that they don't get hurt. Because when you're under that influence, you don't know. You personally don't know. Well, to my knowledge, you personally don't know what you're doing or where you're at. So
it's like
my
a-
job was basically to make sure that person wasn't gonna get hurt. If they were gonna stand up, run around, whatever, or what the case may be. and just to make sure that person was okay, because there's a part of the ceremony where you also regurgitate. So we have to be there to take care of the person.
Yeah, it's like a kind of like the ayahuasca is the same. In the ayahuasca ceremony, you throw up a lot because it's like a purification. It's because for the ayahuasca ceremony, she is a female spirit. The ayahuasca is a female spirit, and she's the essence of the Amazon. You know, so she tries to heal the person. You know, so that healing comes with or throwing up or front or back. So you know, so the thing is that's it's part of the ceremony. But also people have to be really careful. And another thing that I will tell people to try to do is to not support these people that are selling the medicine. You know, because the medicine today has become more of a commercial thing. They've made business out of our knowledge from our medicines to sell it to the people.